This week's episode of I Was a Teenage Film Snob is a collaboration with the Reviewing History podcast. Go ahead and order their Christmas special from Bandcamp this Black Friday. Go support Brian and the boys. Enjoy the episode. Welcome to I Was a Teenage Film Snob. I'm James Chalmers, your friendly neighborhood film snob. And guys, it's been a minute since we've had an episode. This is true. The last time you heard my lovely voice was back in Halloween. And since then, I've moved around a bit. I'm in my final accommodation in Scotland, but I'm still working crazy hours. But that will come to an end soon, which means we should have a bit more consistency. But in the meantime, hopefully, you've been checking out the 90-second reviews and been enjoying those. But if I am going to return and avoid this crazy schedule to put out an episode, it's going to be one of quality. It's going to be with a fantastic guest. You know this guest. The last time he was on the show was about a year ago. So thank God we finally got him back after all this time because he's a hell of a talker, and you'll know in a second who I'm talking about. Today's guest is a teacher, a film buff, a history buff, and is the current youth correspondent to Tell 'em Steve David, is the co-host of Reviewing History. Please welcome back to the show, Brian Ruppert. Welcome back, Rob.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me.
Oh man, it has been a minute since we've had you, more than a minute. But yeah, when you reached out to me yet again to come and have a chat, I was so excited. We caught up actually back in July when I first landed in
Well,
Italy.
that's what I wanted to say. You left something out of your introduction to yourself. Vocal coach, dialogue coach.
I still
He
go on, go. You talk about it.
so I have there's something I had to do, which I don't want to reveal what it is yet. People will see it eventually, where I had to play an Australian guy. And I'm of the belief that when things are bad on purpose, they're not good. So like
Hmm.
if I went and I was like, "Oh, crikey, I'm Australian," like I don't think that's good. I think it's lame. I think it's funnier if I'm trying my hardest to do the accent and I'm failing. That's my personal belief with
Hmm.
comedy. Like Tommy Wiseau, it's like he made The Room once, and he's trying earnestly, and it's so bad it's
Hmm.
funny. Everything after that, no one gives a shit because he's in on the joke. He gets it
Hmm.
now.
Yeah.
So that was my thought process with trying to do the Australian accent. I was like, I have to put every ounce of myself into getting the accent. So we had a Zoom chat for like an hour and a half, maybe more. Your
Yeah, it
wife
was,
actually jumped in to help as well.
yeah.
And we went through different Australian phrases and I tried to say them.
That was it was so funny, like 'cause I hadn't spoken to you in so long, and that I'd had some projects come up, and I wanted to reach out to you, and I was like, I'm so busy. Like he's got his show, he's working with Tesdy. Like it was just an honor to have you on once. And when I told you that, you're like, James, like you could have asked any time. Like, I saw that episode 100 came out, and I was upset I wasn't invited. I was like, damn it, I should have invited him. So to catch up with you when we did, and it was such a bleak moment in our trip. We just landed in Italy, and I think I told you like everyone was sick. My wife and daughter got so sick, and I was in a country where none of us really spoke the language that well. I was just like, this is nightmare fuel. So you were a very welcome distraction from a bit of a tough time. So it was nice to catch up. But
Ah,
no,
good. I'm happy.
and yeah, so that episode that you were involved in, I don't want to spoil. Based on that, it hasn't dropped yet. I'm behind on the Patreon stuff.
It
So
is not dropped yet, so I don't want to say anything until it's
mhm.
out because I don't want to overstep my bounds. But
Yeah,
it's Tell 'em Steve Dave related. I'll say that, and it's for their Patreon, and who knows when it'll come out, but it was recorded. So
nice one. Hopefully, it's not put on a 2 year hold like Gedham's video game episode, which I still haven't listened to. But apparently, Walt was not thrilled to release it.
I mean, it's the longest like buried project in Tell 'em Steve Dave history.
More
So
than the claymation?
no, because that was done once it came out.
Oh, okay. I don't think I've seen the claymation either. There was a I've been a Tesdy listener since Walt appeared on Smodcast. So even pre-Tesdy, I've been a fan of like the boys and stuff like that. But there were some projects I just didn't get around to. I would buy all the Christmas specials, but I don't think I've seen all the video stuff. So I'd only hear about the claymation thing and what a train wreck it was, but I don't think I've seen it, to be honest. I've seen Elephants in the Room and some of the other ones, but yeah. Um,
Yeah, I mean, a lot of them are on Patreon if you wanted to watch them. That's what's
I
good.
do
They're there.
that's like the one problem I have with TESD is that they just produce so much content, and like that's a good problem to have because one day I'll have enough time to sit down and watch it all. But like they're just releasing so much content all the time, which is you know I've talked before about wanting to do a Patreon myself, and the reason why I haven't done it yet is that I want to be able to like they've set the benchmark for me. Like they put out at least minimum like a new episode per week every month on Patreon, sometimes more. And there's video content, and like it's a really ignore what the people of Reddit say. The content is it's consistently high quality. Like it's always really interesting and great. And so like they're the benchmark for me where I'm like, until I have time to put out some TESD level content, I'm gonna have to wait for Patreon, I think. But I will get to it. And I'm so glad that your episode hasn't dropped because I was gonna try and your episode is that spoiler? No, that's not a spoiler. I just said episode. That's all. You're involved in an episode. I think that's safe to say. We didn't say what
Yeah.
show it was. I was gonna binge all the stuff to hear your involvement, and then I didn't get a chance because I've been working till like 3 in the morning every day this week. So knowing that your involvement hasn't been released yet, I'm really trying to dance around spoilers. Makes me feel better about myself. Is ultimately what I'm saying.
I think there's one in the can before it gets to me.
Mhm.
So.
Nice. Well, I have some time off coming up soon, which is really good. I've been trying to whenever I get any free time, just trying to power through movies so I don't fall behind. Speaking of which, the last time you were on this show, I don't know if this is still a goal of yours, but you told me that your dream was to watch every movie ever made. So how's that goal going, knowing that you do have an 18-month-old daughter? How's that goal going?
This year has been the most difficult year with that goal of my life. I think this year is the year I've watched the least amount of movies. Um, I started off the year really good. My goal this year was 365 movies.
Nice.
I'm going to be very well short of that. Let me
Mhm.
check my letterbox and I'll tell you because I have some I haven't logged yet, but I'll
Yeah.
tell you where my letterbox sits today. Um, Hold on. Uh, as of this year so far, I've watched 196 movies,
That's
and
respectable.
I think we have I don't know how much left in the year, but it's definitely not 100 and something days.
It's about 40 days left, I think. I think 'cause we're in the last week of November now, and then all of December. So we've got about 40 days left. I just crossed the 300 mark last week, which for the longest time I didn't think I was going to make because I didn't have a Blu-ray player, I didn't have a DVD player, and I was running out of stuff that I wanted to watch on streaming. So I was like, oh man, I'm going to fall short. And then thankfully I found like a cheap Blu-ray player, so I just bought it off like eBay or whatever. I was like, right, start knocking these movies out. But almost 200, considering you got an 18-month-old, because the first year I found for me at least it was a lot easier to watch movies because my daughter was just slept all the time, so she would go to bed and then I'd just be on night watch in case she woke up, so I could just knock out 3 movies a night. So the year she was born, I watched like 380 movies or something. But the next year, the 18-month year, that's when it got hard. So I definitely know what you're going
Yeah, so it's like when she was a baby, it's like okay, I have to hold her till she falls asleep. So I just would put I've rewatched almost half of the MCU movies. Like
through.
I was
Hmm.
like, you know what? I haven't rewatched everything, so I just started rewatching, and I think I got somewhere in phase 2 or 3 when it kind of petered out. I got to
Hmm.
Civil War, and then that one I just didn't have time to finish, and then my interest went somewhere else.
Yeah.
But I got to Civil War just holding my baby, basically, like rocking her to sleep as I'm just watching something.
Yeah, that's the same thing that I did. I think the first movie she watched with me technically was Logan. She was like 4 weeks old, and I was like, I could sit holding her for 2.5 hours and watch Logan. And then the next one we did a double feature. We did Infinity War and Endgame, and I just sat there for 6 hours straight, pretty much, while she was in my arms. So you can do that when they really, really new, but as they get older, it's a lot harder.
Oh yeah, now it's all her world. So it's like, I could log like Coco like 3 times, and I have, but after a while I stopped logging all the Cocos and all the Toy Story 2s. It's like, I
Yeah.
try, but it's hard to keep track.
Yeah, I can only log Frozen 1 and 2 like twice for the year. Like, and it's so much more than like she's a Frozen kid, 100%. Um, although she is branching out. Like she likes Moana, she likes Encanto. Um, and she just watched today Lilo and Stitch for the first time. She'd never seen Lilo and Stitch, so we watched that and she really liked that. So, and she's finally starting to branch out to live action. She was really only interested in cartoons, which, she's a kid.
Yeah.
That makes sense. But earlier this year, I can't remember what we watched. I took her to see If, and she really liked that. She really liked If, and so I also took her to see Paddington. She really liked that. So she's starting to kind of reach out to at least a hybrid of live action and animation, which
Yeah.
is fun because yeah, she's four, so I think in the next year or so she'll start being interested in seeing people on screen and not the animated stuff. So, but I don't care as long as she wants to go to the movies with me. I'll take her to see anything, except for
Oh
Terrifier
yeah,
3.
that's
Yeah.
that's awesome. Did you see Terrifier 3?
No, I came out while I've been over here, and I had a choice to see that. No, I didn't have a choice to see that. The local theater wasn't playing it. Um, so that'll hit physical media just in time for Christmas. So I'll pick that up and I'll watch it because I like the first two. Well, like's interesting. Like I think they're hard films to. I don't know. I don't know. I do like watching them, so I guess I like them. It's like, do I like Cannibal Holocaust? Probably not, but I will watch Cannibal Holocaust. There's some films that you
Yeah.
don't necessarily like, but you'll watch them. Like, do I like Hostel? I kind of do like Hostel actually, but yeah, like when they get very torturous, the word "like" it becomes a bit subjective, I think. But I
It makes
enjoy.
people look at you a certain way, but
Yeah, it's like
they're popular movies.
I was talking to someone the other day about it. They'd seen Terrifier 3, and I was like, "This problem I have with it's not even a problem, but like Freddy, Jason, Michael, like all of your slasher villains, you can empathize with to a certain extent because they've all been wronged. This is pretty much revenge driven, but Art is pure evil. Like he gets enjoyment out of being as cruel as possible, and there's no redemptive arc for him at all. So I'm like, oh, like even though all the other slashers have gone over the top and have well and truly earned their revenge by now, at least you know what motivated them. Whereas Art is so distinctly different from the rest of them. Like even Jigsaw's got his own twisted sense of rules and judgment and stuff. So I can kind of understand that, but art, I'm just like, you know, what is it? Salt and bleach, salt and bleach.
Yeah, exactly. So can I tell you a funny thing I think about Jigsaw? Did you see the
Yes,
last Saw movie, X?
yeah, I really like Saw X. I
All
enjoy
right.
all of them, even with even with the critiques people have them. I enjoy all the Saw films to a certain extent.
I love the Saw franchise because I think we're roughly the same age. So
Yeah.
like for me, like I didn't have a Freddy, I didn't have a Michael Myers, even though
Mm,
I knew of them, but they weren't actively coming out when I was a teen.
yeah.
And Scream had long been dead. So really, our slasher franchise that we had, even though it's not a slasher, is Saw.
Hmm.
So for me, that's like such a big thing, and I love that franchise. But I've always hated when people categorize it as torture porn
Hmm.
because I've always felt it's a movie with gore, it's a movie with torture, but you're never rooting for the people to actually get hurt. You're rooting for them to escape and get out and defeat Jigsaw. So
Absolutely.
I would never categorize it as torture porn. However, ironically, I think Saw X is the only one that is torture porn because
Mm,
it's the only one where they set up. It's more like a vigilante movie than a Saw movie.
yes.
They set up why these people are fucked up, why they're bad. You want to see them punished because they're evil scammers and you know their whole deal going in. There's never a second in this movie where you're not rooting for Jigsaw to take these people out and you're
Yeah.
rooting for them to be horrifically maimed. And I think that's why this is the only one that I think is torture porn.
Yeah, and it's the only one really where kind of John Kramer takes it personally. With the exception of I can't remember the guy's name now, but the guy who was responsible for the death of his unborn child, I can't remember his name. But obviously that was somewhat personal. Like there's a lot more there. But aside from that, and that was his first time, so you're like, it's his first time figuring this out. I understand he's driven by hatred here. But after that, there's a sense of morals, twisted though they may be. There's rules, and he even punishes his own like employees when they kind of stray from him. But I agree with you. Saw X. I'm like, look, yes, they're harming other people, but would he have even been aware of this group? Would he have been looking for them if he hadn't been negatively impacted by them? So I agree. And it has, I would say, one of the gnarliest set pieces out of all the films. Like that bone marrow trap is still haunts me.
I can't even remember what it is exactly. The thing I remember from Saw X is that's the one where they suck out the guy's eyes, right? With the
Yeah, yeah,
tube.
yeah. Mhm.
That's the one thing I really remember from the movie as far as kills.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely not as yeah, like I think like Saw 6 gets pretty gnarly. That's one of the few films that my saw films my wife saw in cinemas with me because no one would go with me. She said, okay, check it out. I don't mind gore, and then she covered her eyes for the entire thing. Um because and that was I would say the most brutal of them. That's the one where a guy gets melted in half with acid and they're cutting like I don't know, it's full on number six. Um but yeah, there are a couple of gnarly ones in that one. The bone marrow one, she had to cut off her own leg and then suck out the bone marrow. Like that was full on.
Oh, I do
Um,
remember that. Yeah, I remember her cutting her leg now.
yeah. Nice one. So what else? Obviously, you got a full schedule and there's a reason you're here. Obviously, we're going to have a chat. I've been looking forward to that, but you are going to talk about something you've been working on. But what's been kind of lighting your fire this year? What kind of movies you have seen have been kind of standouts for you for 2024?
2024. Let's see. I think my this year, and I think it's an interesting trend because I feel a lot of drama and other genres have gotten completely stale.
Hmm.
And I think the genre that is really shining through because it's still a place where people can be creative and take risks is horror.
Hmm.
And I wasn't always the biggest horror fan, but in recent years, it's become the genre I want to watch the most because
Hmm.
it's the one where people are still swinging, heroes are in danger, no one is immortal and invincible, and you really can never predict what's going to happen.
Hmm.
Um, Substance 2 was one of my favorite movies of the year. It might be my favorite movie of the year so far. Did you
Hmm.
see that?
No, I've been trying to get. It's on streaming here in the UK, but the service that you have to use, we don't have access to. Like the house game with is not there, so I haven't watched the Substance yet. But I've heard nothing but overwhelmingly positive stuff about it. Frustratingly, there are a couple of accounts on Instagram who have been like, "Ah, it's fine. We'll just post spoilers." So I've seen some of the visuals from it, but it's fine. Like I can enjoy stuff with spoilers. So I'm very keen to check out the Substance. It's probably my most anticipated left for the year now. That and Alien Romulus, because apparently, like that trailer, I was like, oh my god, finally someone nailed the tone of the first film. Like someone remembered what that first film was like. So those are the two I'm probably most keen for.
I want to see Alien. I didn't get to see that yet. But Substance, I don't think it's very like twisty almost. Like I kind of felt like I almost kind of knew the direction it was headed the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
But the ride is so fun and it's like a sexy movie that is rare to see these days. You know, like it is. There's like a lot of female nudity and like gratuitous shots of like asses. It's like I can't believe like that's in a movie now. But
Like
I really love
what was the last film like that? If I think like to recent years, I'm thinking maybe X, like by Ty West, that kind of embraced the 70s Texas Chainsaw vibe, but then was also quite gratuitous and did those kind of shots as well. But I don't. You're right. Like cinema and sex have got a twisted history, clearly. So, and I can understand why they move away from it. But yeah, all right, interesting. I'd heard there was a bit of that, but well, I'll keep my eyes open and I'll let you know what I think.
if you watch it, you can't miss it. Trust me. But when you see it, tell me what you think. And the other movie I loved the most this year is ironic. I mean, not ironically, is Joker 2. I absolutely loved
Interesting.
Joker 2,
I
which
really want to see it. Yeah.
I know is the minority opinion. And without getting into spoilers with it, and I'm proud I said this on a podcast, and then Tarantino came out and said the same thing.
Hmm.
Um, I think Joker 2 is just a fuck you from Todd Phillips.
Mm.
It's a fuck you to Warner Brothers. It's
Hmm.
a fuck you to Christopher Nolan. It's a fuck you to the fans. It's a fuck you to comic fans. And it's him going, I'm doing whatever I want. And what I want to do is I want to burn this motherfucker to the ground.
Mm.
And the movie is just a thumb in your eye the whole time. And it's like technically proficient and good. I don't think anyone would deny the technical aspects, but every story and creative decision is almost the opposite of what people would want, including the
Hmm.
studio. And I think that's why I fucking loved it because sometimes it's refreshing to see someone just go, I don't care what anyone says. I'm doing whatever I want. And it's a very punk rock movie in that respect.
It sounds very reminiscent of the Rob Zombie Halloween situation. Like everyone loved, or not everyone, but like the first one did quite well. He never wanted to sequelize it, and they were like, "Well, if you don't do a sequel, we'll get someone else to." So he's like, "All right, I'm going to make the most controversial Halloween film ever made. People are going to hate it, and I'm going to kill Michael Myers." Spoilers for a 10-year-old, 15-year-old movie. But that flick, I think, and I don't know if you've watched it recently, that flick has got some really big swings in it and does some really interesting things, like dealing with the trauma of surviving Michael Myers, which you don't see in slashes. It does a lot of interesting things before even David Gordon Green did it. David Gordon Green, especially the first one, especially people really liked, but he was just doing stuff that Zombie did 15 years earlier, and I'm going to cop so much hate for that comment, I'm sure. But yeah, it sounds like a very similar story where it's just like, look, if the studio can tell me what to do, that I'm gonna make the movie they wish they didn't ask me to make. Um, so that makes yeah, I know a lot of things that happen in Joker. I listened to the Tennessee episode and I've seen some spoilers. Like people just don't seem to care about spoilers online anymore, so I do miss to hear a few things, but I'm still keen to check it out because I'm sure, like worst case scenario, even if I hate it, Joaquin's going to put in a great performance. Lady Gaga, I think, is going to put in a really good performance. I actually really like her as an actor. I just saw Star is Born for the first time earlier this year. I was like, oh my God, like this is not the kind of film I would watch at all normally, but he's great, she's great. Like what a fantastic flick. So yeah, I'm sure everyone's great in it. So I'll check it out.
Yeah, I think all the acting and technical stuff is brilliant in that movie. So those are at the top of my list right now, off the top of my head of movies I enjoyed the most.
Nice. Very, very cool. Yeah, it's been every year's. I feel like every year's a great year for film. Like I'll see people complain about it every like, oh, films aren't as good as they used to be. It's like idiots. Like that's the most negative thing I've said on the show ever, calling people idiots. Um, it's like every year since the invention of film, there has been good and bad. You can look at the '70s and you can see some great flicks and some terrible flicks. You can look at today and see terrible. There's not films aren't worse than they ever were before. There's just so much more out there. You're more likely to see a bad film than and also nostalgia is a hell of a drug. Um, nice
I
one.
think
So,
nostalgia
mhm,
I think nostalgia and also the style of movies that were popular have changed because, like in the 70s, Godfather's a blockbuster almost,
mhm,
If Godfather came out today, it would gross like maybe $15 million in the box office.
mhm.
It would get some critical acclaim, and the studio would be hoping it wins an Oscar so it can get a re-release and make some money.
Yeah,
It's like the movies are almost exclusively now for popcorn cinema or weird gory effect things. For better or worse, that's just the movie going public, how they've been trained over the past 40 years. Like the movies are for big explosions and blockbusters.
yeah.
And if it's something human and personal, I'm going to watch it on a streamer as I stare at my phone.
That's it. And The Godfather would definitely be included in that conversation about how films have suddenly gotten too long, even though like movies by nature are long. Like, and I think that's something that people keep forgetting. Like, what else do you do for 90 minutes straight? Like, even shorter film, like general audience films are long. 90 minutes is still long. Like, guys, you're gonna sit there and watch 3 seasons of The Office in a night. Like, don't tell me movies are long. Like, please, please, like, come on, let's be realistic here. Um, yeah, you're absolutely right. But that being said, like people keep complaining about certain things being popular. Deadpool and Wolverine made $1 billion. Like, so obviously it's still working. Like, it's still, I don't know. That's what annoys me about film. Like, I love film. If anyone, you've been on the show before, we've talked about movies. You know how much I love movies. It's not the movies that ever upset me. It's the people in the stupid comments that come with it that tend to bug me. Um, oh,
Well,
well,
I
that sounds.
think it's easy for people to make a negative comment with no factual claims to back it up.
Mm,
Like people will be like, superhero movies are dying, and it's like Deadpool Wolverine just grossed $1 billion, and then they'll still pretend that there's superhero fatigue. And it's like, well, Marvel released one movie this year. They released one movie in all of 2024. It's like, no, the problem isn't superhero movies. People aren't sick of them. The people have never been sick of storytelling and heroic arcs and character journeys and heroes journeys. What people are sick of are the bad shit decisions that they've made as far as storytelling that fly in the face of thousands of years of narrative. It's like
hmm
Like Shang-Chi is my favorite example of this. I talk about this all the time. But I buy a ticket to go see Shang-Chi, right? And I'm expecting I'm going to see Shang-Chi complete his heroic journey. Traditionally, throughout thousands of years, what that would mean is Shang-Chi at the end is going to conquer. He's going to beat his father in the fight in that movie. His father's the villain, and then there's a big dragon that's going to come, and it's like whatever bullshit. It's bad. He has to stop it somehow. For thousands of years, the movie would be Shang-Chi figuring out how to stop that dragon, right? And
Hmm.
it would be narratively fulfilling. He has completed his arc. He started as a valet, and now he's capable of taking down a dragon. In this movie, it's like, oh, he's fighting his father over here, and his best friend shoots an arrow that she learned how to do 30 seconds ago, and she's killing the dragon. And it's like,
Yeah.
no, that's I didn't buy a ticket to a movie called Katie, Shang-Chi's friend. I bought a ticket to a movie called Shang-Chi. I want to watch that guy stop the dragon. And I think they just kept doing that where they would just undercut all their heroes. Thor Love and Thunder. I'm buying a ticket to see Thor. He doesn't save the day. Fucking Natalie Portman does by stopping being Thor, basically. It's
Mm,
like I think that those are decisions that have really hurt because I think people crave heroes' journeys and heroic
mm,
arcs, and they've been denied them for whatever reasons, and that's why you hear superhero fatigue. Because when superhero movies come out and they do what people want, like No Way Home, Deadpool, Wolverine, they're huge hits. It's the ones that aren't giving people what they want that they have a problem with.
hmm. Absolutely. No, absolutely. Yeah, I was just thinking that whole time because that's superhero fatigue. Because you're right. If you ever want to lose faith in humanity, go and just read any comment about the forthcoming Superman movie on the Snyder Cut subreddit. Like,
Uh,
oh my God. Like I don't even follow that subreddit, and I've seen some of them pop up. It's just like, like, ugh. Human being. It's like you say, people with no information making commentary, like without checking the facts first, bugs me so much. That Superman film looks great. I'm really excited. I haven't. There's no trailer yet. I'm like, I'm so on board for this. Like, it looks awesome. Um, and I think the
I
most
can't
surprise,
wait for it.
yeah, it's like a week out from Fantastic Four. I'm like, oh my God, like two classic superhero origin stories like in the same month. Like I'm getting Superman and I'm getting hopefully a pretty accurate Fantastic Four film. Like, oh, this would be amazing. What a time to be a nerd. What a time to not be a nerd because you don't need to read comics anymore to enjoy these movies. Like they've gone fully mainstream. Um, yeah, I'm excited. I think the most surprising thing you're talking about, like what audiences want and what doesn't work. I think the most mind-boggling thing for me this year is that Gladiator 2 not only is making money but is reviewing really well. Like people are loving Gladiator 2. When they announced that flick, I was like, how? How are you gonna do this? Like, what are you talking about? But apparently, on all accounts, Ridley Scott's found his mojo. He's kind of back to doing some more classic stuff, and people are really digging it. So, you know.
I love Ridley Scott. I think he's one of the most underrated directors ever.
Hmm.
When you look at how high his quality of work has been for like 50 years, it's ridiculous. And like he has swings, some will hit, some won't, but I love that he's just always putting shit out there. I love the first Gladiator. It was the first movie we ever covered on Reviewing History as like a proper episode, not the pilot.
Nice.
And I'm dying to see Gladiator 2. I'm hoping to see it today actually. I want to see that and
Oh,
Red
cool.
1. I want to do a double feature. So, I'm not sure if I want the shit of Red 1 first or Gladiator 2 first, but I definitely want to see them both. Yeah, I'm really excited to see that and eventually do it on our show. I'm a big Ridley Scott fan and I love Gladiator. And I think that movie is making so much money because the original is beloved by people. It's cool. The Are You Not Entertained thing is iconic. And this
Hmm.
movie kind of steered into that whole thing. And then they added the urban element to the marketing,
Hmm.
with the rap music and like really going for like more of like just from the trailers, like a political intrigue thing, like Denzel Washington's coming for the top spot coming up. And I know how the story ends in history, but I'm excited to see it play out in a movie.
Absolutely. It's so funny you mentioned like the urban marketing in terms of the hip hop because I noticed that as well. And my wife, I think, is a bigger Gladiator fan than even I am. She's a bit of a history buff as well. And she said the one thing that made her not want to see that movie is they all use hip hop in the trailers. It's like, yeah, but you're already going. I was like, you're already going to this movie. You like the first one. You remember seeing this one. You probably saw it in cinemas. We've got the kids, you know. That's why we've got youth consultant Brian Ruppert on here to explain this for us, because they're going to get the kids in.
Exactly. It's, they're appealing to a younger and urban demographic with that Gladiator music. And Gladiator is a movie that almost everybody loves when they see it for the first time, just
Mhm.
because it's a simple but greatly shot story. The film is awesome. So, I'm not surprised. I know people too that didn't want to see it based on the rap music in the trailer because they're like, this doesn't look like it's for me, but it's just marketing, like you can't judge anything on a trailer. The only thing you should take away from the trailer is like, does it like are the visuals cool? What does the story look like? I wouldn't worry about music or anything. Look, if I'm watching the movie and there's suddenly a rap song, it would take me out of the movie. I'll be like, this is weird. Just like if I was watching the first Gladiator and they played like a new metal song, as he's walking to if Russell Crowe is walking and they start playing like Limp Bizkit, just one of those days, I'd be like,
Yeah.
all right, this is fucking weird. This doesn't belong here. Like I
Well,
don't want
I want to
modern
say
music.
that. I do want to say that though. Can someone please cut just like one of those scenes, like some corn or some Limp Bizkit, just so we can
Yeah.
see the 90s version? No, you're absolutely right. It's like there's similar outcry, and I don't know if it was like widely like a wide thing, but I remember when Into the Spider-Verse was being promoted, a lot of people that I spoke to who didn't read comics were like, "Why is there so much rap in the trailer? Like Spider-Man's white." I was like, "No, no, Peter Parker's white. Like there's more than one Spider-Man. It's called Spider-Verse. That should have been the clue." Um, but then that film like made every right decision. Like, oh my god, like what a perfect film that is, Spider-Verse. Like, oh, it's so incredible. And the marketing really worked out for them. So yeah, I'm not worried about rap in my Gladiator trailer. I'm sure. I don't know if this is going to spoil the territory, but I've heard they fill the Colosseum, which is something they did do, obviously historically. I'm excited for that because they couldn't do it in the first one. They're going to do it for this one, so I'm very excited for a water-filled Colosseum and what they do there. So
That's awesome. I can't wait.
I've heard some more things, but I don't know how much you've heard. I don't want to spoil it for you, but
No,
I'm
don't
thinking
tell me.
yes.
Don't tell
Okay,
me.
okay, I'll leave it at that because I've heard something that people are like, "Is that historically accurate?" I'm like, "Who cares? It's awesome." Um, you mentioned reviewing history a couple of times, obviously your podcast, which is a
Yes.
wonderful show. If people haven't listened to it, like, what are you doing? Like, finish this episode and then go and listen to as much as you can. Because like Brian's great, his co-hosts are fantastic. He has awesome guests. If you're a Tell 'em Steve Day fan, it's Tesdy co-stars galore. Like Walt's been on, Brian's been on, Getham's been on. Like, can you imagine? Like Steve Dave is a guest on someone else's podcast. I like the guy, but like he's very like not the guy who would kind of appear on a lot of shows based on his interactions on TESD. So wonderful podcast, your show. I love it quite a bit. And you have something special happening this Christmas, just like last year. You had a big old Christmas special to help St. Jude's, and you guys raised some money. This year, doing another special, I believe. Do you want to tell us a bit about it?
Yes. So my show is called Reviewing History. We watch movies based on true stories usually, and we go through it. We tell you what's real and fake as we make jokes and bust each other's balls. If you're a movie or history fan, I think it's great to listen to. I don't think you even need to see the movie most of the time because we kind of walk through the plot and we'll tell you the story of the movie as we're talking about the history and make jokes. It's really just an excuse for us to hang jokes, but
Mm-hmm.
what we're doing is I'm a big Tell 'em Steve Dave fan. I've been involved for a long time now with them and I love their Christmas episodes. So last year I was like, I want us to put out our first Christmas pod. We'll call it This Ain't No Whack Christmas. And we played games and we watched It's a Wonderful Life. And I thought it went well and people seemed to like it. So I wanted to do it again this year. Um, and we looked around and we decided the most needy charity this year was the Reviewing History Company bank account. Uh, and I am personally going to match whatever my share of the gross is and send it to St. Jude to still help them out. But
Oh,
the
that's cool.
account, the company account definitely needs it. So I'll be sending my share, whatever it is, to St. Jude personally. So if it makes $900, I'll be sending $300 to St. Jude.
Nice.
That's me personally. I can't speak for the other guys. But um, the company account needs money, and we decided to do another Christmas pod. This is called I keep wanting to say last year's title. This is called the Christmas Freak Off. Um,
Hmm. Great
the
title.
premise is this takes place in December 2023, minutes after the last Christmas podcast ends, and it's about us going to a Diddy party in December 2023. So so there's a lot of jokes of us talking about interacting with Diddy and how great this is and nothing bad will ever happen. Um, it's filled with Christmas games and fun. There's music, song recordings. It's 3 hours, the main show of Christmas content that I think people will really dig and have fun with. There's fun moments, there's shocking moments. It's everything. It's 3 hours of Christmas content covering a whole wider range of topics. And then for the bonus podcast that comes out with that, we did the movie Die Hard. We covered Die Hard top to bottom, just like we did It's a Wonderful Life. So for $5, you're getting 4 hours of Christmas content.
Nice.
And it's filled with games and fun. I'm super proud of it. It's called the Christmas Freak Off. It's on bandcamp.com, Black Friday at the stroke of midnight in America. You can go to the website. If this comes out before then, you could hit follow on the reviewing history page on bandcamp.com, and you will be able to get a notification when the album drops. Follow reviewing history everywhere. Trust me, you're going to want to hear this Christmas album. I think there's so many great bits and so much fun to be had there.
Awesome. I loved the first one. And I think like this will become listeners like annual Christmas tradition. Like if you're a TESD fan, like this is almost feels like an unofficial companion, or I would never say official. Why not? You've been on the show. It's an official companion to their Christmas special as well. Like that last one you did, I remember I hadn't listened to too many of your episodes. I listened to one or two just to familiarize myself with the format, and I started with the burning with Bry. Um, which is I was like, oh my god, like this is so up my alley. This is such a great show. I really like this. And then when I listened to your Christmas special, I was like, oh my god, like he said he wanted to do TESD and he's done it. You know, like this exactly feels like. But at the same time, didn't feel like a carbon copy. Didn't feel like kind of a bargain buy version of it. It's like you brought your own thing to it. I think I was messaging you on Instagram while I was do it, and you wrapped up with an impression, a George Lucas impression. I was like, oh my god, dude, like that floored me. I was at work. I had to like mute my microphone, so I was like laughing so hard. So it's a lot of fun. If you haven't listened to the last one yet, like it is up there and ready to go, and it's a lot of fun. But yeah, I'm very excited for your new Christmas special. And hey, I think the company bank account is not a bad charity. Like especially if you're trying to build something, like you got to start somewhere.
Yeah, look, ideally, I would always send money to charity, but the fact of the matter is, to tell the truth, the bank sent us a letter and they're like, you guys don't have enough money in your company bank account, and we're going to start fining you if you don't put more
Wow.
money in. So we were like, oh shit. And I was like, all right, so we're the charity this year, guys. But it's I think this has so many good moments. And really, what I tried to do is I didn't try to rip off any bits or anything like that from Tell 'em Steve Dave, even though we do play a one true three on this. I'll say that, which I'll give them. I ripped that one off. But the rest of the games are all my ideas, my creations, different creative things that I came up with, and it's
Nice.
us just putting it together, and I'm super proud of it. I laughed so hard I was crying at several points on this. I can't not wait for people to hear this.
I loved the games you did last time. And I think if anyone is a podcaster and a Tell 'em Steve Dave fan, we've all done a one true three. Like I've done it, like, not on this podcast, but on a previous podcast I hosted. I did one true three. Like I think we all do it at some point. You can't help it. Like it's such a great concept, And we've all played that game before we heard it. We've all played that as kids as well. But the games you came up with, like pick the correct film title and stuff like that. You had like the ad, like I think it was like an advent calendar horror film or something. I remember vaguely. I loved all of it. So yeah, it gets the seal of recommendation from me. Like people go check it out. I can't wait. And it drops Black Friday. That's like in a week's time. So I'm gonna have new content to listen to on my birthday. So my birthday comes out the same weekend as Black Friday. So I'll be very excited. Be a very happy little boy, which is a weird thing to say. So in honor of your Christmas special and being that it is heading into Christmas time of the year, we're going to talk Christmas today. Like
Let's
the
do it.
premise, the premise of the episode we're an hour in. We've now got to the premise of today's episode. We're going to talk Christmas movies. Um, but before we do, we haven't really spoken. I don't think I've ever had an American guest talk about Christmas before. Generally, our Christmas specials are very Australian driven. So, what was Christmas like for Brian Rupert growing up? Is it,
Oh,
yeah, to hit me with some stories. Hopefully, not as sad as Getham's. Poor guy. Barely spoken to the guy ever. I've
no.
referenced him 3 times now, but he's had some sad Christmases.
I absolutely love Christmas. I always have loved it. I've always been a big Christmas guy. Um, so I'm actually, it's funny. So I'm actually Jewish,
Hmm.
but my family, we always also celebrated Christmas. It wasn't like anything with the birth of Jesus for us, but I think my mother just didn't want us to not experience that Santa thing. So for me, it was always more of a secular American holiday. You know, for me, it was nothing to do with Jesus. It was that's the day Santa comes and gives me presents, and that's the day my
Nice.
parents give me presents. And like, I still got Hanukkah presents, and we did all that, and like the Hanukkah presents were real. It wasn't like you hear about on TV or people make jokes about where it was like, here's a dreidel. It was like, I got real presents on Hanukkah, but Christmas was typically when I would get my big gift.
Yeah.
Like that's when I would get my new game console or
Nice.
whatever. So um for me, I always loved it. It was great. Like my grandparents would come over, the whole family would come over, usually Christmas Eve. And then Christmas Eve would usually be me playing video games while like the family would be eating and stuff, and I would eat, but then I'd run down and I would watch Christmas specials on Cartoon Network all day
Nice.
and nickel and just flipping the channels between all the different cartoon channels, watching like all the different Christmas specials. And there's one year this Christmas stands out in particular for me because it was so great. Every shitty 80s cartoon that had a Christmas special, they just aired like all of them. So it was like I watched like the Pac-Man Christmas and all, the, like I just watched all these Christmas specials one year and they all were like burned into my brain. Um so, and obviously I loved presents. I typically would get a lot of video game stuff as I got, there was always video game stuff because I was always a video game kid. But I got toys too, and like it was great. I mean, who doesn't love Christmas as a kid getting shit?
Yeah.
It's the best. And then, as I got older, um, like, maybe when I was like around 18, 19, me and my sister, I don't think we're 3 years apart, but we never really got along or hung out or anything really that much. It's just different. So what became our tradition was that was the one day a year me and my sister would hang out. So we would get up. This was like, teens to later. We would get up in the morning. We would have our big Christmas breakfast with my mother. We would open presents, do all that stuff. I would watch Christmas Story on loop. And then at a certain point, we would go see whatever the newer release is. Me and my
Nice.
sister we would go to the movies. We would see whatever movie it is, and then we would come back and eat Christmas dinner. And that
Nice.
was the tradition for years and years and years. And then, my sister had a kid. And then, she was like, well, I'm not going to leave my kid on Christmas to go to the movies with my asshole brother, which I get. And, that tradition kind of died. And it did bum me out a lot because I liked that, like, there was almost like this flow to the day. It was like, I get up, I do Christmas stuff, I watch a Christmas story, we have breakfast, it's nice. Then we leave. I see whatever new movie it is, and then we come back and we have dinner and we talk and then we watch more Christmas movies and then it ends. And, there's always the 26th is always like one of the most depressing days of the year to me. Like I
Okay.
always feel the post Christmas blues really hard. And then obviously I hate January 2nd because it's like, oh man, I'm going back to work. Christmas break is over. This sucks. But I love, love, love Christmas. I love Christmas music. I love Christmas content. In recent years, well, for the past couple of years, since maybe like 2014, I re-listen to every Tell 'em Steve Dave Christmas pod every year. So I've
Okay.
heard those a million times. What else? I listen to only Christmas music from Black Friday till the New Year's. So I
Okay.
won't listen to any other music that is not Christmas music for like a month. I lock myself into Christmas mode. In years past, I've thrown a Christmas party. Now my Christmas party is kind of the Christmas pod I do. I
Yep.
kind of funneled my energy that way, and that's I want to make that a yearly tradition. But I'm a big Christmas guy. I love it. I wanted to put my office, which you can see now behind me.
Hmm.
I wanted to make this a Christmas room originally. I wanted to make my office
Wow.
Christmas themed. I wanted red and green walls, and my wife said, "You're not doing that."
I mean, look, I might be on her side there. Wow, you are a big Christmas guy. Like all the stuff you're talking about, like I like Christmas, but like you love Christmas. And like you're talking about like just January 2nd. I'm like, what do you mean? Why does January 2nd suck? Why does December 26th? And then I remembered America and Australia very different. As Christmas is our summer break, so our Christmas break is a lot longer. And because we're part of the Commonwealth, we do Boxing Day, which is just an excuse for us to buy more crap right after we got new crap on Christmas Day. So it's a little bit different for us. But I understand if you don't have that blues there for sure. Um, yeah, all right. So you're way into it. I love that little tradition of going to see Christmas, like going to see movies on Christmas Day. We don't get movies released on Christmas Day here. We don't get them until the day after 26 is when our new releases come out. So
Huh.
my version of what you do is I go. I don't do it now that I have a kid, but New Year's Eve we stopped going to New Year's Eve parties, stuff going out, getting drinking and stuff. We're like, hey, 7 o'clock, we'll go hit a movie because the cinema's going to be empty. We'll go out for dinner, in bed by 10. So like that was my version of your Christmas. But oh, I love that. I love that you found like a way to connect with your sister and stuff like that. Like that's it could, yeah, especially if you weren't super close to begin with, like finding that like, hey, if we have to do it once a year, let's make it Christmas and we can have a lot of fun with it. But that's really sweet. I like that a lot.
Yeah, that was always the thing we did. Like we saw The Fighter that way. She wanted to see La La Land, and there was something else I wanted to see, but I was like, yeah, you know what? Fine, I'll go see La La Land. So we did La La Land that way. We saw both Sherlock Holmes movies that way with Robert
Nice.
Downey Jr.
Great.
because I'm pretty sure those were both Christmas releases, but we saw both of those together.
Hmm.
Um, I think we saw Django together on Christmas because I think that was a Christmas release in
That
America.
was, yeah, it was, yeah.
So I know we saw that, but it was great, Like I always loved that. It was my favorite part of Christmas, other than the food and presents and all that. But I really did enjoy that. It was like a really nice family thing we got to do.
Yeah, nice, man. That's really cool. Because yeah, I can't remember if you've been on any of the Christmas episodes, so apologies if you have. My brain's an absolute mess at the moment. But I wasn't sure, yeah, like how deep into it. And I knew obviously that you're of Jewish faith as well, so I wasn't sure like whether you even celebrated that much. But clearly, big Christmas guy. Um, and we treat it as the day for presents as well. Like we haven't raised our daughter in any particular faith, so we're like, it's Santa. Like it's just if you want to
Yeah,
learn about Jesus, someone will tell you about it. But that's I got enough of that growing
yeah.
up, so we've gone non-religious for that. Um, very cool. So today, Brian, you've brought two lists, which I think is a first. I think you're the first guest to bring two lists of movies to the podcast. We're going to talk about your
But
five. Oh, go on, yeah.
you made the mistake of giving me the option between two lists related to Christmas content.
Yep.
And me getting to talk about Christmas, I'm like, oh, I'll fucking talk about Christmas all day, buddy. So I came up with two lists. So I have a top five Christmas movies, and
Hmm.
then I have five underseen Christmas movies. And
Nice.
one I know you want to talk about because I know you watched it because I
Hmm.
recommended it last time. So we'll save it for when we get to that part. All right.
Yeah, absolutely. I just remembered there was one guest almost had two lists last Halloween 2023. I don't know what I said there. We were going to do favorite horror remakes and favorite horror sequels, and it took us 3 hours to get through our first list each. So we're like, we'll do a part two, and we never did a part two. So you are officially the placeholder now. You're going to take first place for the first person with two lists. Um,
All right.
where do you want to start? You want to start underrated, underseen, or do you want to go with your favorites first? I'll let you
I'll go with
decide.
my faves.
Nice one. Well, hit me with number five, Brian Ruppert. What is your
Well,
top
I have
five
two
favorite
honorable
top five?
mentions, which
Yes.
which uh which on any day these can pop into the top five. But my honorable mentions are Gremlins and Die Hard.
I was wondering where Die Hard would place. I knew Die Hard was going to come up. I figured you for a Die Hard fan. So Die Hard and Gremlins, both great films, both pretty dark for Christmas spirit, but very good films. Absolutely.
Yeah, and these are movies I watch every one of these every year.
Yeah.
You know, so those are my honorable mentions. But my number five, which I didn't always love, but as I got older, I started to love it more. And the older I get, the more I love it, is Christmas Vacation, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Yes, I had seen it when I was very young, and then I hadn't watched it. There it is, and then I hadn't watched it. I'm so glad you have physical media. Um, everyone who listens to the show and follows on Instagram, like, oh my god, shut up about Blu-rays. Never. I rewatched it for the first time in I would say decades last year for Christmas, and yeah, man, I'm there for the Griswolds, whether they go to Europe or whether they go to Wally Worlds. I'll even follow them to Vegas. But Christmas Vacation, yeah, a lot of fun.
I think it's their finest hour. I think it's super funny. And as I get older, I see myself more in Clark, where it's like I'm the patriarch of the family now. Like I'm decorating the front of my house. I'm doing all these things. I have one of my big dreams in life is to one day have an in-ground pool in my backyard, and like I can't help but watch that movie and watch him fantasize about it and not see myself. So I love that movie. I think it's great. Elaine from Seinfeld is in it too, Julia Louis-Dreyfus. So I got to always shout out Seinfeld.
You're speaking to a Seinfeld fan, so I know that you get a lot of crap on your show for talking about Seinfeld, but I'm here for it. I love Seinfeld, so yeah.
It's the best. So that's number five, Christmas Vacation. Number
I
four.
oh, before you do, I will say I
Oh,
also see a lot of Clark Griswold in myself, but I'm the other side of Clark Griswold. I'm the guy who's so chill and just excited and like patient until you get to like, the last 45 seconds, and then I lose my absolute mind. Like I see that, I'm like, oh, that is me. Like I'm not an angry guy, but it's like after a certain while, I felt this on this trip a few times, like which my wife will attest. I was very like, I'm like, okay, the suitcase, let's get on there. You just look after Zoe. We're gonna get it all done. And then like I yelled at a group of European strangers who were trying to push their way in front of me on a train, and I'm not that guy at all. So I had my Clark Griswold moment in Switzerland.
I think most guys aren't too far from a Clark Griswold moment where they flip out like that.
Yeah,
Everyone has their limits.
yeah, absolutely. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just
No, no,
get
no, no, no.
my
I'm
Griswold in there.
glad you
What's
got it
number
out.
four?
Number four, Scrooged.
Yes,
I love Bill Murray. It is my favorite version of a Christmas Carol.
really
It's
interesting.
not it's, it's not the modern traditional take, but I love that all the beats are there. I love, everyone in the world knows a Christmas Carol. Oh fuck, I actually have a big omission here. I left out Muppets. Fuck.
I was about to,
Uh,
when you said it was your favorite version, I was like, really, not Muppets. I was going to get to that. Do you want to give the Muppets like an honorable mention, or do you want to put them up along another one in your list? There's no rules here.
I'm gonna put them in. I don't want to change the whole list. They probably would go above Christmas Vacation if I was being honest, but I'm not gonna double dip on my Christmas carols, so I'm gonna put
Sure.
them in honorable mention. But I do love them up at Christmas Carol. But Scrooged is my favorite one because I like that they took all the beats of the story, they reworked it into at the time contemporary American setting. They had it work, and I love the way it's directed. I love some of like the little effects and puppetry. I love how cynical the movie is about Christmas at time. But the end of that movie, when Bill Murray is like redeemed and he's seen the light,
Hmm.
is my favorite Bill Murray performance in any movie.
Oh wow.
I absolutely love at the end when he's like so frantic and like
Hmm.
happy and he's feeling it, and you're gonna want that feeling all the time every year, and you
Yeah.
could have it. I love that performance. Obviously he carries the movie, but I love Scrooged, absolutely love it.
It's such an unhinged take on Christmas. Like, I remember I watched it with my wife, and my wife is not a Bill Murray fan, and she's not because I grew up with Bill Murray. I watched Bill Murray films as a kid. I watched, all the films that like those kind of quintessential '80s comedies. that maybe are a little bit snobs versus slobs, are a little bit raunchy, my dad introduced me to. So like I loved all the Bill Murray stuff. I loved like Ferris Bueller, which I know is not Bill Murray, but just it falls in the same blanket to where I'm going. So I would watch them with my wife when we got together, and like she's a secondary school teacher. She teaches high school, and she's like Ferris Bueller. I hate him. He's a jerk. Like that's her opinion because she never got to see the magic of Ferris Bueller as a kid. Bill Murray, arrogant. She doesn't like him at all because she didn't get to see his cheekiness from a kid's perspective. So it's so funny. But yeah, Scrooge is unhinged. And that whole sequence with Carol Kane, like I think my like, oh my God, it's so insane. But you are making me want to rewatch it now because it's been a minute, and that is a great Christmas film.
Love it. My number three, this is a cheat. I'll put my hands up. I put two movies, but I think they go together so well
Hmm.
that you can't have one without the other. I picked Home Alone 1 and 2.
I really struggle to choose because two is really just a big budget remake of one with a different setting. But
Yeah.
I agree. Oh my God, I love Home Alone. Yeah, every year Home Alone 1 and 2 have to play. I'm also, this is going to be controversial, I'm partial to three. It's Scarlett Johansson's first ever film, and there's a lot of fun, kind of weird stuff in there. There's Russian spies. I don't mind it, but
How
first two,
about this? I
obviously.
was almost Kevin in Home Alone 3.
Are you
I'll tell you that.
serious?
I auditioned. So talking about Home Alone 3. So they did open casting
Hmm.
for Home Alone 3 to find the next Macaulay Culkin. And they made a big deal about it. And I was like, I loved Home Alone. I was like, I'm a cute kid. I was like, I could be Macaulay Culkin. I've seen the movie. It doesn't look hard. And we went to the open auditions and I got like pretty far into the process.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's very cool.
And
Yeah.
yeah, obviously I did not get the role, but if it did, maybe me and Scarlett Johansson meet, maybe we fall in love.
I was gonna say you get like you get like Colin Jost miss out, you marry Scarlett Johansson, who apparently just celebrated her 40th birthday today. I was like, you
Yeah.
kidding me? Like, oh man, like I'm still a little while, like I'm on the wrong side of 35, but I'm not at 40 yet. And I'm just like, geez, like all these Hollywood types, like, get me that support, please. um,
I always look at Colin Jost and I'm always like, he grew up on Staten Island. We're roughly the same age. And I'm always like, if my life zigs and zags certain ways, I become Colin Jost.
that's the version of sliding doors I want to see. Like,
Yeah.
um,
But
sorry, yes, please talk
Ho-
about Home Alone 1 and 2.
Home Alone 1 and 2 are classics. Every year on Christmas Eve, my family watches Home Alone 1. And then shortly right after, we watch Home Alone 1 and 2. I just feel like you can't watch one and not the other.
Hmm.
They're usually watched as a double feature, like even on TV. In America, we have a channel Freeform that Disney owns that plays both Home Alones back to back all Christmas
Nice.
season. Um, Love it. It's funny. It's heartfelt. It's a spectacular movie. I think Uncle Frank is one of the greatest characters in the history of film with
Yes.
so little screen time. I think he's so funny. I quote, "Look what you did, you little jerk," all the time. Uh,
Yes.
I love Home Alone. I think it's great.
It's such a like part of the DNA of my childhood. Like we just watched it all the time. Like not even at Christmas. Like it's just one of those films that it's a Christmas film, but it just works so well. Um, like and I quote it all the time as well. Like whenever we're doing like a pizza night, like my wife will be like, "What pizza do you want?" I'm always like, "My very own cheese pizza, just for me." Like just like little things. Like, I love Angels with Filthy Souls and Angels with Even Filthier Souls. Um,
Yes.
I'm always like whenever I get into an argument with my wife, I'm like, "You've been smooching everyone, Cliff." Like just like I just think it's so brilliant, so much fun. And I surely you would have heard this rumor. I have no idea how true it is, but apparently the rumor for the original Home Alone, the first one, is that Harry and Marv were meant to have been hired by Frank. That was like always like the kind of rumor online or this fan theory that he actually hired them because he didn't like Kevin. I was like, that's a very like what is Black Christmas too? Like, why'd you go so dark?
Yeah.
But I like that theory. I'm here for it, even if it doesn't have much water to it. I like it. Um, they're one. I could do like 2 hours just talking about Home Alone. I love those films. The only
There.
Only thing I don't like about part two is the bird lady. I've said it like a bunch of times on this podcast. I'm sure people are like, why? She doesn't mean anything. I don't know. I just feel like it's a very like weak compared to Old Man Marley. I think it's a great like misdirect in the first one. I just felt like the bird lady didn't have the same kind of punch. But,
Yeah, I
that's
mean,
my
they're doing the same thing again, and it's hard because they're in the New York setting. So how do you do that again without it being, if it's a man, everyone's just going to be thinking of Marley. So
mm,
you do you know, you do the old lady covered in pigeon shit, and it mostly works.
yeah. Although
Um,
I will say the second one used to scare me so much. There's one moment in someone that would scare me so much. And that's when he gets in the cab. He's like, it's scary out there. And the cab driver's like, it ain't much better in here, kid. And like, he's so grotesque, unnecessarily so. Like, I had to cover my eyes as a kid because it's so scary. But yeah,
I love the line in Home Alone too. I say it all the time whenever we talk about the park. I say the park. Grown men are scared of the park. Grown men go into the park and don't come out alive.
yeah.
I love that.
What's his name? Daniel Stern is such a comedic gift in both those films. And as so is Joe Pesci. Like obviously he's playing the straight man. One of my favorite, like to piggyback on what you were saying, when he's like, "Yeah, kids are scared of the dark." What are you talking about? You're scared of the dark. Like what a great double feature. Like I would love to see like those characters again. Like I would like the same way that Machete in the Machete films is also Uncle Machete in Spy Kids. Like, show me like the Harry and Ma film that is not a kids movie. Show me them getting into like really dangerous crimes, and like give them Scorsese language. Like, I would love
It'd be fantastic. I'd be here for it.
that. Yeah,
The more wet and sticky bandits we get, the better.
yeah. They have to upgrade though. We've had wet, we've gone sticky. So like, what is the next incarnation? Like, the first word that came to my head is juicy, but I regret saying it out loud.
Yeah,
I don't know what the juicy bandits.
the moist bandits. I don't know. I know people don't like that word moist.
Oh man, excellent. We are flying through your list. What's number two?
All right, number two, It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah.
It's a Wonderful Life is the best movie on the list. It's one of the best movies ever made, in my opinion,
Hmm.
but it's not my favorite. I do watch it every Christmas, you know, and every year I cry at the end when everyone comes together, and it's one of the best scenes in cinema history. The whole town has rallied behind him. They've helped him out in his hour of need. It's beautiful. There's not much else to say other than it's a beautiful movie.
Hmm.
I absolutely adore it. Jimmy Stewart is fantastic in it. There's moments where, and this is the moment that sums up his performance to me. He's in his shitty house and he's walking up the stairs and he grabs, I don't know what the name of the piece is, but he grabs the knob on top of his stairs, which always comes off. And he's at his lowest point. He thinks he's going to jail, and the thing comes right off. And he is so fucking angry in that moment that this thing again is broke. And you see him, he just wants to fucking spike it through a wall. And he's like, God damn it. And he places it down, and you just feel all the quiet rage and anger burning inside of him. And then in recent years, I found out that he was suffering through PTSD from his time in the military as he filmed it.
Oh
And the
wow.
movie was like yeah, the movie was actually like cathartic for him making it. Um, and like doing it allowed him to work through a lot of his issues because he was like in a really dark place. I think it's Frank Capra's masterpiece. I think it's, Frank Capra being the ultimate optimist in cinema history, maybe. And it is a perfect, perfect, beautiful movie. The black and white version, the color version shouldn't exist, but I
I
love it. Absolutely flawless.
I I've never seen It's a Wonderful Life. It's not one that gets regular rotate. I know. I saw the look of despair on your face. It's one that doesn't get a lot of rotation over in Australia. But I know it's like one of those ones that like it's just like it took me forever to see Citizen Kane. Like one of those where I have to see. It's just on my list to get to. But Christmas is around the corner, and there are a lot of Blu-rays on sale right now. So I'll try and get my hands on it this Christmas so I can report back to you.
I
Because
honestly, you're kind of lucky in a way that you get to watch it. Like I said this recently on another show the other day. I forget where I was, Someone was talking about how they haven't seen a lot of movies. And I was like, you're actually lucky. I was like, because if you haven't seen any of the classics and you haven't seen any of the big movies, you have such a wide open world ahead of you. You get to see shit that other people aren't able to see or see again. It's like I'll
Hmm.
never experience Pulp Fiction again.
Yeah.
I'll watch it, but I know everything that's going to happen. You get to taste that delicious meal for the first time. So
And
in a
through the
way,
frame of someone who will probably appreciate it more. Because I saw stuff when I was younger, like the show is called I Was a Teenage Film Snob. There were so many great films I watched when I was younger and just did not give like the proper like commendations. So I was like, yeah, whatever, this is fine. And now like I'll go back and I'm like, I was an idiot. I'm glad I appreciate it now, but I wish I'd appreciated it the first time. So I'm with you. Like sometimes late is better. So you can really appreciate for what it is.
and as someone who is now an older man and you have a wife and kids, it's impossible to not see some of George Bailey in yourself, and
Hmm.
to watch that movie is just fucking magical. Honestly, you owe it to yourself to watch it. I can't recommend that movie enough.
No, I think I talked about this last time, but you a hell of a salesman. We are talking about the issues that these studios have. If they just got you to just sell every movie, I'd be like, ticker please, every single. Like you have a way with words and always managed to sell me on films. Like there were two you recommended last time. We'll talk about at some point, and I was like, oh my god, I'm so glad. I would have come across these films. I'd never heard of either of them. I probably would never have discovered them, but you had seen them. You recommend them, and like what a couple of hours that was for me. Like what a treat. So yeah, it's a gold seal of approval when you recommend a movie to me, so I can't wait to check it out.
All right, awesome. And my number one, this is my favorite Christmas story. It is watched minimum two or three times every Christmas season. It is A Christmas Story. I find it to be the movie that sums up the universal, in my opinion, the universal American Christmas the
Mm-hmm.
best, because everybody that celebrates Christmas, more or less, has the universal experience of being a kid and wanting one toy so much that you think it's the end of the world and it's life
Mm-hmm.
or death if you get this thing or not. And Ralphie wanting that gun is so relatable. It could be anything, For me, it was like game systems or individual video games, but we've all been there. And like the parents pretending that they didn't get it for him and they really did, and then pulling it out from behind the tree as the last present
Mm-hmm.
is like my family did that to me one year. I think I was like maybe 6, and they got me, and I loved my original Nintendo, and they got me a bunch of Super Nintendo games for Christmas. And in my head, I was like, oh, I can't play any of these. I don't have it. And I thought my parents are just old and they don't understand, and they got me the
Mm-hmm.
wrong stuff. And they also got me like an Aladdin playset, and it was a great Christmas as far as toys. And then the last present was they're like, "Oh, what's that one?" And they did the thing, and I opened it up, and it's a Super Nintendo
Mm-hmm.
with Super Mario World, and I was like, "Oh my God, I have a Super Nintendo!" And it was such a big thing. And I think that is like the perfect American child experience of wanting the toy. And then the other little touches are so funny with the lamp and cursing and the tongue on the pole. And the other thing that I love is at the end, the big turkey dinner, which fails. So they have to go to the Chinese restaurant where, we never had to go to a Chinese restaurant on Christmas, but I mean, we could because it's America and that's kind of how the country is. There's a lot of Chinese food. But like that traditional Christmas dinner of a turkey is such like a big important thing, and I love that the movie touches on it. It's great. I just love A Christmas Story. I love the humor, the heart, the way it's filmed. Bob Clark, the king of Christmas horror and Christmas comedy.
I
Love
was
Bob Clark.
I was gonna say like I was hoping you touched on it. The craziest thing about that is he not only directed Christmas Story, but he directed Black Christmas. And I just rewatched Black Christmas for the first time in about 10 years, and I'd forgotten about the phone calls. This only the second time I've watched it. The first time I watched it, I was during my snobby phase. I was like, why do people care about this? This isn't gory or violent. Like, what's the big deal? And then I watched it and I was shocked. The language. And I'm not offended. I was fine, but I couldn't believe in a 70s film they got away with that. Um, And then yeah, on top of that, he also directed a Christmas Story, which, Rupp, I'm very sad to say, I also haven't seen. Another one that wasn't in heavy rotation in Australia. I think it's very much a quintessential American story, but I know how beloved it is. So it's one that has eluded me because it's just had very limited releases. But again, Christmas is coming up. There's Blu-ray stores everywhere, so I'll see if I can get my hands on it, and I'll report back to you on that one as well.
I I think you have the perfect opportunity to watch two of the best Christmas movies ever if you haven't seen them, because like It's a Wonderful Life will punch you in the gut.
Hmm.
It'll get you emotionally. And A Christmas Story is just funny and relatable, you know?
Hmm.
You probably know most of the things that happen just by cultural osmosis,
Of course, absolutely.
but I still think you'll find it to be an enjoyable movie, and like the look of it and the way Christmas looks, and like this it has this like gauze about it. The way everything looks is so like it's a memory, you know? And it is a memory. I mean, it's 1950s America. It's like, 70 years ago now. But it's beautiful. I absolutely adore that movie. I watch it 2 to 3 times every Christmas. If you haven't seen it, you have a treat ahead of you, my friend.
Yeah. Well, I know there's a movie we're going to talk about on your next list because you recommend. I imagine it's going to be on your list because you talked about it last time.
Oh yeah.
And my impression was that it was kind of a modern take or heavily inspired by Christmas Story because it seemed to have a lot of the same beats based on what I'd heard, and I adored that. So, if it's pulling from the best, I can't wait to see what it delivers. So, hopefully, I'm hoping I'll be able to get my hands on it this year and I can have a chat to you about it. But yeah, just wasn't in regular rotation in Australia. That's. I could complain about what we don't get for years, but that's
Yeah.
fine. In the world, of international shipping and streaming and all that sort of stuff, I should be able to get my hands on it. So I'll be reporting back to you. But it sounds beautiful. It sounds like a lot of fun.
So with that, we can segue to my underseen Christmas movies bit, my Christmas movies list, and we can start with the first one. These are in no particular order, but
Sure.
number one is 8-Bit Christmas. Um,
Yes.
so it's a movie which I have always felt, and I said this last time, was done completely wrong by the era of streaming, because the movie needed a theatrical release so people could see it instead
Hmm.
of being sent to die a death on HBO Max, which is now like a dying streaming service. And who knows where this movie will end up without any sort of physical release, and it may just vanish from the ether. What it is it is an updated version of A Christmas Story, because a kid in the 1950s, they would want a BB gun. A kid in the 1980s, they would want the Nintendo. And that's what the
Hmm.
story is. And the movie has heart, it packs a punch, it makes
Oh
me
boy,
cry every
it
time I've seen
does.
it as a
Yeah.
dad, just childhood memories. It gets you. It's a beautiful movie.
I'll try to keep a spoiler free for those who haven't seen it because you recommended it to me, and I waited until kind of Christmas season to watch it. And I think I texted you. I was like, "Hey, I'm going to watch 8-Bit Christmas now. I'll keep you updated." And when the treehouse transition happens, there's a transition because it takes place.
Yep.
It's narrated, so yeah, like the narration is in the present day, and they're telling a story from the 80s, and then obviously we will jump forward in time. And when you kind of hear about the treehouse and what it represents, like it destroyed me. And I think I messaged you. I'm like, I can't stop crying. What have you done to me, Rob? Like it's absolutely killing me. But it is fun and like there's some really great like antics in it. Like I love all the plans. Like how are we going to get the Nintendo and stuff like that? It's shocking they weren't like, hey, Christmas Day release, like let's whack it in theaters. Like that film totally would have played. Like, and that seems to be something that's gone away. Is that we don't see the Christmas movie every year anymore, or like if we do, it's like I haven't seen it, so I can't criticize. But there was like the Amelia Clark one, which was like the last Christmas, so like a romantic one. But where's the kid Christmas movie? Where's your fun Christmas movie? We haven't seen that in a long time in theaters, and I don't know if it was made during COVID, and that's why it kind of got shelved to HBO Max. But why wouldn't you capitalize on the fact that hey, here's a new Christmas comedy? We haven't seen a Home Alone film in a decade because we won't count some of the sequels. But like why isn't it here? Like this film totally would have played. It's such a beautiful movie and fun and relatable because all the kids these days are playing video games, so they will appreciate like, something retro, and all the adults watching it wanted that console or had it. Like it was the perfect formula. I adored it. And he had a great cast. Was it Neil Patrick Harris? Was he doing the voiceover?
Neil Patrick Harris is the older person and the narrator,
Mhm.
and then most of the rest of the cast are kids, but the dad is fucking great in it. Is that
Yeah.
it was it Steve Zahn?
Yes, it was Steve. I was trying to remember who it was. Steve Zahn, who has incredible dramatic chops. Like people think him as a comedy actor, but he was also the voice of Bad Ape in Planet of the Apes. Like he's got such incredible range. Yeah, he was the dad, and the very distant father at that as well. Like a very typical, like kind of if you ever watch the Goldbergs, like what the Goldbergs' dad is like as well. Not super involved with his kids. Is more focused on providing for his family and stuff. Um, yeah, oh, it's a wonderful film. Really lovely.
Yeah, it's a movie that I always recommend to people. I just wish that like this is one of the things where, we don't have the monoculture anymore, where a movie comes through, everybody sees it and everybody knows about it because this is a movie that I think people would fucking love, and it
Hmm.
just was buried in a muck of streaming bullshit, and it. Who knows where its final life will be? Who knows how many people will still get to see it? I absolutely adore it though, and I wish it was like a big hit because I think there's so much fun to be had.
Like honestly, like the more I think about it, what was the last big tentpole Christmas film? I'm thinking like Elf, which was in the early 2000s. Like there was Elf and there was Love Actually. There's your kids film and your adult film, both worthy Christmas films. What did we have that like made an explosion in the like? Am I missing something? Like surely I must be missing something. What happened in 20 years?
So there were a bunch of Christmas movies that didn't quite hit. Like there was Office Christmas Party,
Oh, that's right.
and
That was okay. Night
there's
Before was okay. Um,
yeah, there's a bunch of okay Christmas movies, but as far as ones that became instant classics that people want to revisit again and again and again,
hmm.
it seems like that's gone. I loved last year's Christmas Offering, which I wanted to put on my underseen, but it was a big hit, so I don't think it needs to be there. But I loved Violet Night. Did you see that?
Oh, I did like Violent Night. I was really looking forward to it when I saw the trailer. I thought the trailer was brilliant. And I really liked Violent Night. He's so like I'm so glad he's getting so many roles now. Like he was kind of no one really knew him until like Stranger Things, and he just exploded. He's just done so many things. Um, but again, so that was great. But then we still haven't had a lot of. I'm trying to think of a kids' Christmas film. Like I can't think of. Surely there's been kids' Christmas films or family Christmas films, but I can't think of anything. They did a Home Alone film, which was direct to streaming, which was fine. I didn't
Yeah.
hate it, but I didn't like. Did you watch it? Did you watch the Home Sweet Home Alone
Uh,
or whatever it was?
I I hold the original Home Alone and A Christmas Story so sacrosanct that I did not watch the sequels.
I
Um,
I will say like it's got a good cast. Like Ellie Kemper from The Office is in it. Like there's some really great wonderful little performances. But the biggest problem I had with it, I'll spoil it because you're not going to watch it, is that unlike every other Home Alone film, the villains, the robbers had a genuine sympathetic motivation. So I was like, well, they're not really bad guys. So I can't feel good about them getting beat up. Like when they get beat up, I'm like, hang on, no, these guys have like real problems. They got like it was a family who like didn't have enough money to afford their own Christmas, so they start stealing stuff. And I was like, oh, I don't know how I feel about them getting shot in the head with like golf balls and stuff because like Harry and Marv are bad dudes. Like they're funny, but they're bad dudes. These guys are just trying to like provide for their children. Like, oh, man. So it felt like a bit of a misstep. Um, that was
the only
One of the Disney Plus ones. I
the
think.
only thing I the only thing I heard about that last one is that people are like, I hate the new Kevin character. And they're like, he's evil, and I'm rooting for basically the crooks in this one, you
That's
know?
kind of how I felt. Yeah, and he's a great actor. He was the kid from Jojo Rabbit, so he was like
Yeah.
so he's a great like little actor and stuff. But yeah, it just felt like a bit of a misstep. I also didn't mind Noel, which I think came out the same year. Maybe it was a Disney Plus exclusive, and Anna Kendrick plays Santa Claus's daughter. I didn't mind that. Like that was kind of fun, but like there's it didn't pop. It wasn't big. The Grinch. The Grinch came out in 2018. That was the last big Christmas movie.
The animated one, yeah.
The Benedict Cumberbatch Scott Mosier hybrid that no one saw coming. And I didn't mind that take either. Again, it was very different to the previous incarnations, but I didn't mind it. I had a bit of fun with that one.
I thought it was a fine Illumination movie, I can't complain about it really.
look, if it's gonna make me cry, you got my money, and that film definitely made me cry. So
Okay.
I like Baby Grinch. That was pretty fun. Oh, we got way off topic. I just yeah, like it just
Yeah.
when you said it, I'm like I was trying to think like, but even still, like the Grinch was 6 years ago. That was the last big theatrical Christmas film for families I can think of, unless I'm missing something.
And it's the third version of that story,
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely. Like we've seen it so many times. Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely I would love another big monoculture Christmas hit that is undeniable. My next one is one of the most beautiful animated movies I have seen in the past decade or so,
Hmm.
and it completely got buried and went away, and it didn't get any notice. And it was again because of the streaming muck was Klaus. Did you see Klaus?
I didn't, but I've heard wonderful things. I've heard like again, like it's gonna make me cry. Apparently, it's a very like well made animated film, a really great kind of story, a take on Christmas. So yeah, tell me all about it.
So I'm a proponent of 2D animation as it is.
Hmm.
Um, I feel a lot of the CGI animation is all very samey. I think most of the movies kind of look alike. Like I don't find any discernible difference really between like Tangled and like Secret Life of Pets. You
Oh,
know, like
okay, you're talking my language. I went on a whole rant this past Oscar season because Elemental got nominated for an Academy Award. And I haven't seen it. I'm sure it's wonderful, but I was like, how can you nominate that, which looks like every other Pixar film, and not give the Turtles a shout? The Turtles was so visually different from any other animated film I've seen, like in so long, even more different than Spider-Verse, and not a nod. Like it literally embraced the genre. Like anyway, yes, I agree with you. I love the Disney stuff. I think they have more hits than misses, but it's time to maybe get a different penciler in. Let's change up the look a little bit.
yeah, it's like because even like going back as a kid watching animated movies, it was like you could watch every decade of Disney animation almost looked different than the other
Hmm.
animation. Like 101 Dalmatians doesn't look like the Little Mermaid.
No, and then you
Jump,
jump forward and you get like the Treasure Planet era. Like you get like the 2000s, which is so uniquely different again. And then we step into the CG, and that's where it starts to get a bit same.
yeah, and it all just kind of feels like slop. And this was done by a Disney animator. I don't have his name off the top of my head, but he was one of the hand drawn guys who has
Hmm.
done Disney hand drawn animation, and he made a traditional hand drawn animated movie using some modern technology to like spruce it up and add some depth and stuff like that. But the movie is just a stunning feast for the eyes
Hmm.
that is so beautiful that you're like, oh my God, I can't believe they made something like this in this
Hmm.
year that looks so good. And that's just the technical level. And then the story part of it is great as well as like a kid's animated Christmas movie. It's perfect. I think it hits all the beats I need to from a Christmas movie as far as heart and look and like enough humor for kids. I loved it, and I
Hmm.
wish more people had seen Klaus because I think the movie deserves it for just the artistic merit alone. It's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Who played Santa Claus in that? Do you remember off the top of your head?
J.K. Simmons is Santa in that.
I was going to say, I was wondering because I know there was also Rise of the Guardians, which is not a Christmas film, but it has a very like tatted out Russian Santa, and I want to say it's Alec Baldwin. I knew they
Alec
both played.
Baldwin.
I knew they both played Santa, but I couldn't remember which one was which. JK is brilliant. Like the guy can't.
And
The guy
J.K.
could.
Simmons is playing him again in Red One.
Oh my god! Like the guy can't turn in a bad performance if he tried. Like he's so good. Oh man,
Love
Whiplash.
J.K.
The guy from Whiplash is playing Santa Claus. Just let that sink in
Yeah.
for a second. Oh man, you give me some great ones to watch. I want to check out Class. That sounds awesome.
and and his protagonist in the movie is what's his is Jason Schwartzman. He's the main character.
Oh, lovely. He's so good as well. I like Schwartzman. Schwartzman never gets enough credit. Like he's in so many like indie darlings. He doesn't. An actor of that caliber should have way more recognition than he gets. He's so good. And so good at playing the bad guy a lot as well. Like you often see him play quite villainous roles. Like even something like Scott Pilgrim, which is not, I would say, a life changing cinematic experience, visually stunning, a lot of fun, but like the performance he puts in that film, you're like, it's a comic book movie. Like, you didn't need to go that dark, but he goes really dark. So, yeah, I like Schwartzman.
He's a great actor. I love anytime he pops up. I loved Bored to Death, his HBO series. I thought he was
Yes,
great in that.
yes.
Yeah, I think he's a really underused actor. But when he does pop up, it's usually great. So maybe it's a case where he's a guy who picks his projects carefully.
Well, he started. I think his early stuff was with Wes Anderson. I don't know how involved with Wes Anderson he still is, but I know some of the earlier stuff he was definitely involved in. And what was the other thing I really liked? Oh my God, I'm blanking now. I was just thinking about it now, forgotten. But yeah, every time he shows up, Funny People. I really loved him in Funny People. Like just this
Yeah.
obnoxious, like thinks he's funnier than he is. Like, oh my God, he's so good. Yeah.
He was in Wes Anderson's last movie,
Is that Asteroid City?
Asteroid City. That's it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I still haven't seen it. There's a 40% off Criterion sale at the moment, I think, in the US and UK. So next week when I go to my store, I'm picking up a bunch of Wes Anderson Criterion stuff. So I'll be able to just get all the Schwartzman, which sounds dirtier than I
Yeah.
meant it, but anyway, that's fine.
Yeah, it's really good. So,
Nice.
all right, my next pick is a little controversial because this movie is not loved. But I love it. I love the movie Surviving Christmas. Have you ever seen it?
This is the Affleck Gandolfini one.
Yes.
I always get it confused. I haven't seen it because I always think I've seen it, but the one I've seen is Deck the Halls with Danny DeVito. I don't know why I confuse them. I think because DeVito and Gandolfini are both Jersey guys, like who are like
Yeah.
driving a younger guy nuts. I've seen Deck the Halls, I think more than once, and it's not brilliant. But yeah, I always think I've seen that, but no, I haven't seen Surviving Christmas. But I know big Kevin Smith recommendation. He recommends that one. I know he's an Affleck fan, but he's always recommending that one. So
Oh,
um, yeah.
I didn't know he recommends it. I've always loved it. I like Ben Affleck as an actor. I
Mhm.
always liked it. The premise is goofy and stupid, but the cast is all really good. I mean, you get Ben Affleck, Christina Applegate, James Gandolfini, Catherine O'Hara.
Oh my
I
God.
mean,
And
that's
Catherine O'Hara's already done like the definitive Christmas movies for us, Home Alone, and she's come back and done it again.
and she did Nightmare Before Christmas. She's in that too.
Of course she did. Oh my God, you're absolutely right.
So, I think that movie is a very good, romantic, funny Christmas movie that I always love. And I love the performances in it. I think it's silly and goofy, but there's a bit of heart there.
Hmm.
And I have a blast watching it every year. I'm not going to sit here and tell anyone it's a good movie or a masterpiece or anything. But I think if you're looking for just more a lighthearted, fun Christmas movie with some good jokes, I think it's worth at least one watch. Going with an
I
open mind.
I like silly romantic Affleck. I'm a big Affleck fan as well. And for the last decade, maybe 2 decades, we've got very gritty, very serious Affleck. We've had all of his directorial stuff. We've had Gone Girl, we've had Batman, we've had all these like very serious. With The Accountant, which I actually really like The Accountant. By the way, I think it's a really like underrated film. But we haven't had a lot of like fun, silly, romantic lead Affleck in a long time. Look, I'm partial because I love the filmmaker, but I think Jersey Girl is one of the most underrated rom coms of all time. I think it's so well done. He's so like lovely in it. So yeah, Surviving Christmas. You telling me I'm getting romantic Affleck? I'm here for it. I think he's great. So
Yeah, you've never seen Surviving Christmas?
no, I always used to get it confused between that and Deck the Halls, and I've seen Deck the Halls, but I haven't seen Surviving Christmas. So I don't know how it's
It's
eluded me because I love Affleck. So
I think it's worth a watch. I really do.
nice. Yeah, no, look, as I said, your recommendations go, and you know what I like in as much as if I just want to feel something, I'm looking for a certain feeling. It doesn't have to be a perfect film. If I can get something out of it, I'll be able to find something positive. So you generally pick the recommendations pretty well. So yeah, if you're telling me it's worth checking out, I'm checking it out.
Yeah, if you're just looking for look, if you're looking for a great movie, I would say don't watch Surviving Christmas. If you just want, a fun Christmas movie for an hour and a half with a couple of decent laughs and like the Christmas ambiance, I think it's worth watching. I
Okay.
watch it almost every year.
Is Gandolfini playing his neighbor, his father-in-law? He's obviously some sort of male antagonist. So what's the?
Okay, so the premise of the movie is this. Ben Affleck is like a rich, successful millionaire or billionaire. He's super rich, right?
Mhm.
And he is trying to reconcile with his past because he grew up like he's trying to reconcile with his past and almost like rebuild his life. And like he decides that he'll go back to the house he grew up in as a kid and when he goes there, he sees James Gandolfini is there with the new family, and he's like, I used to live here. And more or less, he offers them a deal where, in order to like kind of fix himself, he'll stay with them through the holidays. And at the end of the holiday, he'll give them $1 million. But James Gandolfini has to pretend to be his father. The mother has to pretend to be his mother.
Oh my
And,
God, that's amazing.
and and the younger brother has to pretend to be his brother. And he's doing this to try to fix himself. And obviously they clash and there's, all sorts of stuff.
Oh my God, that's amazing. I had no idea that was the premise. I am 100. Like that sounds brilliant. That's it's so stupid. I love that.
Yeah. It's fun. It's like that's a premise that can only exist in a movie, you know?
100%. Absolutely. No, I am. That's like that's Billy Madison level. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's like, oh, well, I'm rich, so I'll just start school from the start again, even though I'm in my 30s. Like, that's exactly what, like, it's the same sort of thing. Oh my God, how does this not have more attention? It sounds ridiculous. I love that.
I
All
think
right.
it got panned at the time.
Mhm.
I think it got panned at the time because it came out in that time period when everyone was shitting on everything Affleck did. And
Mhm.
I think people didn't even want to give it a chance. And I think that's why it gets killed so much. But it has always worked for me.
That's amazing. I'll tell you what, based on what you're telling me, there's going to be a really kind of gooey, heartfelt moment at the end. I'm going to cry, even though I shouldn't cry in this movie. I guarantee you, I'm going to cry. That's amazing.
All right.
Awesome. That's great. I'm so glad you told me what it was. Cool. What's number two?
So number two is Christmas Evil. Have you ever heard of this?
I've seen it. I watched it.
Okay.
I watched it last year for the first time, but it was some 400 movies ago. Um, I think I watched. Oh, did I watch it? Or did I watch Silent Night, Deadly Night? Oh my God, because there's so many of them. I watched a bunch of them. Whichever one was on Shudder, I watched. Maybe I didn't watch Christmas Evil. I apologize.
They both were on Shudder, but I I only have seen this movie once, but it was a movie that completely took me back because it's so gritty and nasty. It's violent. It's almost like psychotic in some ways. However, the whole movie is redeemed by the very last shot of the movie, which poses a question to the audience in a way where you have to go, is this happening or is this in a person's head? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Is this the one that ends and there's like a car crash or something? Is this the guy who's dressing up as Santa and killing people?
Yeah. He's
Okay, I have
dressing up as Santa.
vague recollections of this. Yes. Okay. Yep.
He's dressing up as Santa and killing people, and I don't want to spoil things, but the last shot of the movie, you're left with a big question. And I love that it does that and it asks the audience that question. And, everybody that watches it will have a different opinion on did this really happen or was it imagined? I always choose to believe it really happened.
Yep.
I just find that's funner for the movie.
No, absolutely. Yeah, I remember I was watching a bunch of like just trying to load up as many Christmas movies as possible. So I have vague recollections of this. And I think I know what you're talking about. But yeah, it's pretty dark. Like it's pretty full on for like I know like it's a horror movie, but geez, like it does get pretty gritty. And it's from that era, like the same era as like Maniac and stuff like that, where it's like I would say even probably in terms of nastiness, I'd put it above Black Christmas. If it's the one I'm remembering, it's pretty yeah full on. Um, yeah, I don't think most people haven't seen that one. That's definitely an underseen film for sure.
Yeah, it's super underseen and like I don't know, I just find that last shot kind of touching, even though it's such like a nasty, grimy movie.
Mm,
But I really, really enjoyed that when I saw it. Um,
nice one.
and then my last underseen Christmas movie, I'm digging into horror again. Have you ever seen
Nice.
Better Watch Out?
Is this one with the robots?
No, the robots. Is that? I think that's Christmas Bloody
That's
Christmas.
Christmas Bloody Christmas. Better watch out. Did I watch this one?
It's the boy and the babysitter where they're alone together on Christmas.
No, I didn't watch it. I don't think it was available when I was trying to. Because I remember looking up Christmas horror because I really wanted to watch a bunch of them. So I don't think I saw Better Watch Out. I think I watched Christmas Bloody Christmas instead, which is also a really weird flick.
Okay, so what I love about Christmas Bloody Christmas is a lot of fun too. I think there's cool shit there with the robot Santa. I would totally watch a sequel, but better watch out. So it's very simple premise. I don't want to give anything away. The movie is about a boy and his babysitter who is tasked with protecting him on Christmas, and he has a big crush on her and he's in love with her. And as they're together, um, a serial killer or like a Michael Myers type comes to the house and tries to break in. Um, and Home Alone antics are treated practical in the movie. That's the best thing I could say.
I haven't seen it, but I know which one you're talking about. I've heard about this. Yes.
So like the paint can goes into someone's head and like all that shit happens, but they treat the violence that wouldn't occur real. Like, if I throw a brick at someone's head, they'd fucking keel over.
Yeah.
So it it's very much like that. I don't want to give the plot away, but I think it's so much fun and it plays with our knowledge of Christmas and Christmas movies in
Mhm.
a really fun way, and I highly recommend it. And it's one of those ones that I can't talk about too much, but I
Mhm.
think it's underseen because it's also fairly new. I'm actually going to be covering it on a podcast in like a couple of weeks.
Oh, nice. Very cool. Yeah, I must have missed that one because there were a couple of kind of like Chris because there were quite a few Christmas horrors I would say in the last 10 years we've had a ton of them. Like you mentioned Violent Night. I think Anna and the Apocalypse is another one which I haven't seen, but I think that was a
Yes.
Christmas one. Um, yeah, we've had quite a few, so I just didn't get around to them all. But yeah, better watch out. I remember hearing someone did a grown-up take kind of on Home Alone. So well now I've got to check that out. But that sounds amazing.
I love I love Christmas horror. It might be like my favorite genre subgenre in all of film.
Hmm.
Obviously, I love Christmas and I love horror, so when you mix them together, I think you get some cool shit.
Hmm.
Um, but I think Krampus is a modern classic. I love that movie.
Yes, really
Um,
underrated Krampus. A lot of people didn't
I
like it when it
think
came out, but it's great.
Yeah, I think it's really well done. I'm working on like a move. I've had the idea for years of like kind of my own take on Krampus that I
Hmm.
want to do. It's not Krampus, but it's like, the tone I want it to be similar of the project I'm working on. But regardless, Christmas horror is great. So I wanted to recommend two of my favorites here that I think are underseen because I think most people know Krampus and it's not like that underseen. I think it's reached
Yeah.
like cult classic territory. Whereas these other ones, I think a lot of people haven't heard about or seen.
Have you ever seen Rare Exports?
Oh, I have seen that. That's the one with the troll, right?
Yeah, and there's like the room full of naked Santas. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I watched that a couple of years back, and like that's another really underseen one. It's such a weird flick, but it's great. Um, yeah, I wasn't expecting that much male nudity in a film that was, I think, the equivalent of a PG-13. So I was like, whoa, glad I watched this one alone before introducing it to my family. Um, oh my God. Those are some cracking lists, man. Some really good lists there. Definitely some new stuff for me to check out, which I always love when people bring new stuff for me to check out. Um, but thank you again for coming on the show and talking movies with me. As I said, I've been looking
Real quick,
I'm not sending you
before
away.
we
I'm just
go,
go for it, please go.
before we go, you gotta tell me what you thought of the other movie I recommended to you.
One Cut of the Dead. One Cut of the Dead was the
Yes.
other film you recommended. And I subscribed to Shudder just for that movie. You were like, you got to watch it. And I found it was on Shudder. So once I finished my work for the year and I was on vacation, I was like, that's it. Let's get Shudder. Um, wasn't expecting the twist at all. Because I was watching
No.
it, I was texting you the whole way through, and I'm like, I don't think things happened yet. I don't think this happened yet, and you're like, just keep watching. I was like, all right, and I just finished setting up my garage. I think I was told you like last year I was turning my garage into a cinema, and I that was one of the first films I watched in the home theater, and I loved it. I loved it. I loved the
Yes.
twist, and then I loved all the behind the scenes stuff and the way that it was approached. It was just such a yeah, really fun movie. Really well
It,
executed, and it does have a cult following. And there's definitely like a lot of people out there have seen it, but so many more people need to see that film. It's really great.
it's a movie that if you're a movie lover or someone who's wanted to make movies, it's a movie you should totally see. because it's like the only movie I know off the top of my head that you watch it, and then one thing happens which changes everything you just
Mhm.
saw in a completely new context. And by the end of the movie, I think you can't help but cheer,
Yeah.
you know?
A- And I remember watching it, and I don't know whether it's like the fact that I'm severely uncultured, but I'll watch a lot of international films, a lot of foreign films, and I don't see kind of scale of performance the way I do when I'm watching an English spoken movie. Like if I watch an English spoken film, I can kind of tell when someone's putting in a decent performance, someone's putting in a really good performance. Like maybe I've got blinders on, but if I watch an international film, I generally don't see it. One cut, like I was like, oh, these performances aren't very good. Like this must be like a really low budget independent thing. And then when the thing happens, I was like, oh my God, the performances are even better than I realized. Like, oh my God. Because I
Yes.
generally don't pick up on it, but I like it was so deliberate. I was like, oh, this feels a little bit stilted. Like it must have been like a low budget thing. And then yeah, the thing that happens, and I was like, oh my God, like what a Jesus Christ. Like they got me. They absolutely pulled the wool over my eyes. I'm so glad they got me because yeah, it was a really fun experience.
Yeah. It's one of those movies when it comes out, you're like, why didn't I think of that? Oh my God, it's such a good
Mm.
idea. You know? I love that movie. I love recommending it to people. And I always tell people, you're going to think I'm crazy that I recommended this to you for
Mm-hmm.
45 minutes, but get to that 50-minute mark
Mm-hmm.
and you're going to see why I recommended it to you so hard and you're going to fall in love.
Yeah, no, it's really good. I got to check it out again. I've got to pick it up on physical. I think they've got it over here actually, so I might pick that one up as well. But yeah, it was that's what I was saying before. I kept saying like I'm sure people are like, what do you like? You said this is the second time Rupert's been on the show. Like, how many gold seal recommendations has he made? I'm like, no, no, he recommended two excellent ones last year. They really delivered. So anything he recommends, I'm on board for. Um, so yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. I'm glad you reminded me because we would have skipped that, but that was a great flick. Um, Excellent, man. Well, again, like, thank you so much. I said to you earlier the year when we spoke and when I was in Italy, the reason I haven't invited you back to the show is I'm just sort of like he's so busy. He's got so many things on, like, and I feel like your podcast is so much closer to being what you want it to be, where I'm still figuring out the kind of the gears of my show. So I'm like, oh, I don't want to bother him. Like, he's definitely like on a journey, but you're always so like ready to come and have a chat. And you're always, very like open about it, and just such a dream to work with, to be honest, man. So thank you so much. It's lovely to have you back.
No, thank you. I love doing your show. I love getting to talk with movies with a genuine movie lover who gets it the way I do, who feels about the things the way I do. I feel like we're very simpatico as far as like viewpoints, as far as like the business and stuff like that. And just the passion you bring, I really appreciate it. So anytime you want me back, just reach out. I will be happy to do it. And I'll make every effort I can to do your show. I
I
love
know
it.
that I know that's a legit offer this time because yeah, you called me out on it when we spoke last. You're like, hey, I said any time. Why didn't you call me? Now I know for real. I can't say too much, but Brian and I also might be working on a project next year. Announced something the day that something might be coming in the works. I've got to work out a few things, but I've really, yeah, you would reach out straight away. I was like, oh, this is what I'm thinking. You're like done and done. Let me know. So hopefully we can get something cool going there. Before we head out, tell them all again all about the Christmas special. When can they get it? Where can they get it? What do they need to look for?
All right. So check out Reviewing History everywhere you get your podcasts. I've told you what it's about a million times. If you're at this point in the show, you should know
Yep.
what my show's about. But go to bandcamp.com on Black Friday in America. That's November 29th, the stroke of midnight Eastern Standard Time. Wherever you are in the world, it might be different, but for me, it's midnight. Check it out. It's called the Christmas Freak Off. You're getting 4 hours of Christmas content, fun games. We replay some games we played on last year's. There's a bundle which has last year's Christmas album. Last year's Christmas album is for sale as well, but you're going to want to get This Ain't No Whack. Sorry, nope, that was last year's. You can get it. But I always do that. What you really want to get is the Christmas Freak Off. Next year, I got to go with like a very wholesome Christmas. So the titles are like kind of sex based and confused in my mind. But it's called the Christmas Freak Off, bandcamp.com. Follow the page so you get the alerts. Thanks so much for having me, James.
You're so welcome, man. And if I can give one more recommendation, if you're not checking out his show already, go and do it. If you're a Tell 'em Steve Dave fan or a Kevin Smith fan or you like that style of humor, episode 600 of TESD dropped earlier this year and Rupert's on it for quite a hefty chunk. and is brilliant. He's so funny on it. He really, I was like, oh, I know that guy. I never really get to feel that way listening to episodes of podcasts. So I really enjoyed it. So if you're a Tesdy fan or you just like the Kevin Smith stuff, go check out episode 600. Ruppert's great on it. Really, really good. That is going to do it. It's been a minute since I've done a show, so I was feeling like I had to dust out the cobwebs a little bit, but podcasting skills are still there. Thank you everyone for listening. Please keep an eye out for more content. We've got some more episodes before the end of the year. I'm still doing the 90-second reviews, but more importantly, next week, or depending when this drops, it might have already dropped. Black Friday, pick up the Christmas special. Follow Ruppert on Twitter, on Instagram, all that sort of stuff, and buy it. Please go support it. It's gonna be really fun. Thank you everyone for listening. Thank you Ruppert for coming on the show again. And as I say every week on this podcast, guys, I was a teenage film snob, but I'm trying to be better. We'll see you next week.